This happened last month. I was trying to get inspiration for work. I had just moved to a small town as a freelance graphic designer. One day, I decided to explore an old brewery at the edge of town. It looked abandoned, and I thought I could find some interesting ideas hidden in the crumbling bricks. I entered the brewery cautiously. The air felt heavy. Dust motes danced in the fading light. My footsteps echoed against the walls. I moved deeper inside. I admired the cracks in the tiles. They were beautiful in a way, telling tales of a time when people gathered here. Then I saw it, a bottle tucked in a corner, covered in dirt. I grabbed it and wiped it clean. The glass was clear. The label looked old. There was a strange message, but I couldn't make sense of it. I thought it looked unique, so I took it home. At first, the bottle sat on my kitchen table, catching sunlight. I kept meaning to check it out more closely, but the next morning, it was still there. I had discarded it once, but somehow it returned. I shrugged it off as a weird coincidence. Days went by. The bottle stayed. I felt like it was watching me, but I tried not to think too hard about it. Then, things started to change. I began hearing noises at night, soft whispers coming from the bottle. I thought maybe it was my mind playing tricks on me. Shadows appeared in the corners of my apartment. I thought I saw shapes out the corner of my eye, but when I looked, nothing was there. I was stressed. My work became erratic. I couldn't concentrate. Designs turned dark and twisted. It wasn't what my clients wanted. I found myself staring at the bottle more often. I'd shake it, but nothing happened. Cold chills ran down my spine when I was near it. I remember one night, I sat on my couch. The sounds grew louder, like whispers just beyond my understanding. My heart raced. I stood and approached the table. The bottle remained still. I reached for it, and a wave of unease washed over me. I whispered, "What do you want from me?" Then I swear I heard a reply. It wasn't clear, but it felt like it responded. "Stay." It sounded almost pleading. My skin prickled. I staggered back, hitting the table. The bottle rattled. My heart pounded. I couldn't help but wonder, was it just my imagination, or was it something real? I was afraid. I could feel something shifting around me. The bottle sat there, unchanged, yet I felt like it was never leaving. Every time I tried to push it away, it clung even harder. I kept looking over my shoulder. I began feeling a presence in the room, something watching me intently. Now, I'm dealing with a reality I never wanted. The whispers grow clearer at night, calling me to understand. But I don't want to. Find out what lies beneath the surface. I only know it's a part of me now, and it's terrifying. I hardly got any sleep that night. The whispers had kept me awake. I tossed and turned, trying to shake off the feeling of being watched. Every creak of the floorboards sent me into a frenzy. I spent the night glancing over at that bottle, convinced it was somehow pulling me in. The next day, I tried to focus on my work. I sat at my desk, staring at my computer. My designs were a blur of darkness, swirling lines and shapes that made no sense. I could hear the whispers again. They were louder now, clearer. "Stay," they called, over and over. It was becoming unbearable. I needed to do something. I decided to visit the local library. I thought maybe I'd find some history about the brewery. Knowledge might help me understand whatever was happening. When I arrived, the smell of old books wrapped around me. I scanned the shelves until I found a section on local history. Flipping through dusty pages, I stumbled across a small article about the brewery. It used to be a lively place, filled with laughter and cheer. But one section caught my eye, a mention of a tragic fire that led to its closure. There were whispers of a man who had vanished in the flames. He had been a regular, beloved by the townsfolk. It was said he was trying to save the old cellar when everything went up in flames. I felt a chill run down my spine. Was this the man reaching out to me through the bottle? I needed more details. Frustrated, I continued searching until I found a photograph of the brewery before it closed. In the corner stood a man who looked eerily familiar. I felt a connection, but I couldn't explain it. After an hour of digging, I left with the article clutched in my hand. I hurried home, driven by a mixture of fear and curiosity. The closer I got to my apartment, the stronger the tension grew. I opened the door, and my breath caught in my throat. The room felt different. It was darker. The shadows seemed to stretch longer. I approached the table, and there it was, the bottle, glimmering in the dim light. But something was wrong. The whispers intensified, echoing through the room like a haunting melody. I stepped closer, and a feeling of dread washed over me. The bottle was no longer just a piece of glass. It felt alive. I could hear a soft thumping sound, almost like a heartbeat. I leaned in, heart racing, desperate for answers. That's when I saw it. On the label, the faded script shifted before my eyes. A name began to materialize, one I hadn't noticed before. I leaned closer to read it, my hands trembling. Just as the letters formed into focus, the room went cold, and the whispers reached a deafening crescendo. "Stay. Find me," they urged, and suddenly everything went silent. I stood there, frozen in the heavy silence. The air felt thick, suffocating. The whispers stopped, but my heart raced in the quiet. I blinked, trying to clear my mind, and then suddenly the name on the bottle hit me like a punch. "Samuel," I whispered to myself. It wasn't just a name. It was the same name mentioned in the article at the library. Samuel had been the man who vanished in the fire. Dread washed over me. Had I awakened something? I instinctively pulled back, but a strong urge to reach for the bottle tethered me in place. Then the shadows grew darker, swirling around the room's corners. I could feel an unfamiliar presence starting to fill the space. I bit my lip, wanting to scream, but no sound would come out. The weight of whatever was happening pressed heavily on my chest. That name, Samuel, it felt important, like a thread I was meant to follow. Gathering what little courage I had, I took a step back towards the bottle. The whispers returned, now less like a single voice and more like a chorus. "Find me," they echoed, weaving through my thoughts. I needed to understand, but what if I was playing with something far beyond my grasp? Panic surged through me as I thought about the fire. Had Samuel really been trying to save something? Or was it all a lie, a story spun by the town to cover up something darker? My mind raced with questions, and the need for answers felt urgent, almost desperate. Compelled by an unseen force, I grabbed the bottle. It felt warm against my palms, almost pulsating. I turned it over, searching for any clue or symbol that might lead me to the truth. A small piece of parchment lay beneath the cork, and I carefully pulled it out, holding my breath. The note was old and faded. I squinted to make out the words. "The truth lies in the cellar." My heart stopped. The cellar? I remembered the mention of it in the article. The cellar was where Samuel had perished. Before I could fully process what I'd found, a sharp noise jolted me from my thoughts. The front door slammed shut, rattling the frames around me. "Hello?" I called out, but my voice wavered. No answer came, only the sound of my racing heartbeat in the silence. I felt exposed, like the shadows themselves were watching me. I steadied myself, clenching the bottle tightly. Before I could think it through, I made my decision. I couldn't ignore this any longer. I needed to go to the brewery. If there were answers to find, it had to be there. But as I headed toward the door, a low whisper curled through the air. "Stay with me." The words gripped me tightly, and for a moment, doubt washed over me. What if I shouldn't go? What if I was inviting something far worse? But when I looked back at the bottle, now shimmering with a strange light, I knew I had to try. I took a deep breath and stepped out into the uncertainty, determined to confront whatever awaited me at the old brewery. As I stepped outside, the chill of the evening air wrapped around me like a shroud. I hesitated for just a moment, listening for any signs of life. There was nothing but the rustle of leaves and the distant howl of the wind. Gathering my resolve, I headed down the path toward the old brewery, the bottle securely in my grip. The walk felt longer than I remembered, my feet dragging with a mix of dread and anticipation. Every shadow seemed to twist, morphing into something sinister as I passed. I wondered if others had ventured down this route before me, unearthing secrets best left buried. My mind struggled with the implications. Samuel's name echoed like a warning. The brewery loomed ahead, its silhouette sharp against the darkening sky. The doors hung slightly ajar, as if inviting me in, or perhaps warning me to turn back. I took a deep breath before stepping into the empty space, the sound of my footsteps echoing off the worn wooden floors. Inside, the air felt heavier, thick with dust and the weight of forgotten memories. I glanced around, searching for the door that led to the cellar. The whispers from the bottle echoed in the background of my thoughts. "Find me," they urged. But where exactly should I start? I felt lost amid the barrels and crates. Suddenly, something caught my eye. A faint light flickered in the corner of the room. My heart raced as I approached it. A narrow staircase, half hidden behind some crates, spiraled down into darkness. The light pulsed softly, beckoning me to follow. As I stepped down, the atmosphere shifted, the chill becoming more pronounced. I felt something brush against my arm, like a whisper of a memory that wasn't mine. I froze, but pushed forward. I had to know what was down there. At the bottom of the stairs, I opened a door. It creaked, revealing the cellar. The air was damp and stale. My breath hitched in my throat as I scanned the room. Old bottles lined the walls, but one particular section caught my eye. There, on a table, was an old chest. It was marked with the same symbols I had seen on the bottle. I felt inexplicably drawn to it. The heartbeat of the room quickened around me as I reached for the latch. Just as my fingers brushed against the cold metal, a loud crash erupted, shattering my concentration. I spun around, pulse pounding. My heart sank when I spotted the door swinging back and forth, as if someone had just rushed in. "Who's there?" I shouted, voice shaking, but I received no answer. My instincts screamed at me to run, but I couldn't tear myself away from the chest. I gripped the latch tighter, feeling its cool metal against my skin. The whispers returned, more frantic now. "Open it!" And then came the sound, a low growl that resonated in the darkness. I froze in place, my decision hanging by a thread. What had I weakened? The growl echoed off the damp walls, sending chills racing down my spine. I squinted into the darkness, trying to discern any shape or movement that could explain the sound. My heart pounded in my chest, but curiosity gnawed at me, urging me to find out what lay within that chest. Without thinking, I threw the latch open with a heavy hand, the noise thunderous in the silence. The lid creaked, resisting my push, but I wouldn't back down. With a final grunt, I opened it wide. Inside, the faint glow illuminated an assortment of odd objects, tattered maps, strange trinkets, and a small, ornate box. I carefully lifted the box free, its surface cool and smooth beneath my touch. It felt important, as if it held answers to questions I hadn't even thought to ask. That's when I noticed it. From the far corner of the cellar, dark smoke began curling toward me, and the growl morphed into a guttural snarl. I turned sharply, and the hair on my arms stood on end. A shadowy figure loomed just beyond the doorway, its features indistinct but undeniably threatening. Panic surged within me. Was this what I had awakened? I hesitated, torn between the box and the figure. Instinctively, I stepped back, clutching the tiny box to my chest. "What do you want?" I managed to call out, my voice trembling. The figure didn't answer, but its presence felt suffocating, like a storm gathering strength. Suddenly, the whispers from the bottle roared to life, their urgency escalating. "Unlock it! Unleash it!" I glanced down at the ornate box, desperate for clarity. I could sense that whatever was inside wasn't merely a curiosity. It felt powerful, alive. The figure took a step closer, blocking the light coming from the staircase. My back hit the table, and for a brief moment, I considered just bolting for the door. But something about the box kept me rooted in place. I unlatched it, sweat beading on my brow, my heart drumming a frantic rhythm. As I pried it open, the glow intensified, illuminating the cellar with an otherworldly light that danced around the walls. I stared at the contents, a small crystal glowing like a heartbeat. The figure let out a low hiss, and I felt a rush of cold air wash over me, snuffing out the light. It was gone in a blink, leaving only the pervasive darkness and the frantic whispers of the bottle. I turned and swiped a hand across the table, scattering the items aside. I needed to get out, but before I could move, the shadows surged forward, and a voice rang out, low and sonorous. "You should not have come here." The ground under my feet trembled, and I stumbled. The bottle felt warm against my side, pulsing like a warning. With a surge of adrenaline, I bolted toward the staircase leading back to the brewery. I had to escape, but doubts clawed at my mind. I had opened the box, but what did that mean? What had I unleashed? Behind me, the shadows writhed and shifted like angry spirits, and all I could think was that I had to get away before it was too late. I raced up the stairs, skidding on the wet stone, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The shadows chased me, hissing and swirling, their presence a dark cloud at my heels. My mind screamed at me to move faster, to escape whatever I had disturbed down there, but my legs felt like lead. As I reached the top, I flung open the door to the brewery and stumbled inside, slamming it shut behind me. The sudden silence was jarring, the stark contrast to the chaos I had just fled. I leaned against the door, heart racing, eyes darting around the dimly lit room. Antique brewing equipment loomed like forgotten giants in the shadows. But there was no time to catch my breath. I glanced toward the far corner where the window stood ajar. A chill gust slipped through, making the hairs on my neck prick up. The whispers from the bottle had quieted, but a feeling of urgency still weighed heavy in my chest. What now? Did the shadows follow me? I took a deep breath and turned back towards the workbench, hoping for some sense of clarity. The crystal from the box rested in my palm, its warmth contrasting sharply with the cold sweat on my skin. I set it cautiously on the table, the soft glow pulsing like it was alive. Closer now, I could see intricate designs etched into its surface, symbols I couldn't begin to decipher. Then I remembered the bottle. A surge of fear washed over me as I realized I had no idea where it was. In my panic, I must have dropped it. I scanned the room, dread twisting in my stomach. I had to find it. That's when I saw a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned, and my breath caught in my throat. Shadows slithered beneath the door, creeping like dark tendrils across the wooden floor. They had followed me. The calm of the brewery felt fragile, as if the shadows could shatter it at any moment. I glanced at the glowing crystal, an idea forming in my mind. Whatever it was, it felt powerful. Perhaps it could protect me. I reached for it, but the whispers returned, louder and more frantic. "Use it! Twaim it! Bind the dark!" "Bind the dark?" I muttered, confusion and fear mixing inside me. Before I could think it through, an icy grip wrapped around the doorknob, slowly twisting it. Pressed against the door, hungry for entry. With little choice left, I grasped the crystal tightly and shouted, "What do I do?" As if in response, the light from the crystal flared brightly, illuminating every corner of the brewery. The shadows recoiled, hissing, but didn't retreat. Instead, they surged forward, morphing into a shape I could barely recognize. The door burst open, and I braced myself, ready to face whatever monster lay beyond. But in that moment, the crystal in my hand flickered, almost like a heartbeat, as the weight of my decisions began to spiral out of control. Whatever I had started, I couldn't stop now. The air hung thick with potential, and I knew I was standing on the edge of something much darker than I had ever imagined. The moment the door flung open, a wave of icy air swept through the brewery. I squinted, trying to make sense of the form emerging from the shadows. It wasn't a monster, not exactly. The silhouette was human, familiar yet distorted, features obscured by darkness. "Get back!" I shouted, backing away. My grip tightened around the crystal, its warmth now comforting against the chill. The figure paused, tilting its head. "You're the one who called me," it said, its voice a haunting echo that seemed to linger in the air. "No, I didn't," I protested, my mind racing. "I don't even know what's happening." "Then you don't understand the power you wield," the figure replied, stepping closer into the light. It was a man, looking eerily like someone I knew, a fellow brewing enthusiast named Samuel. But his eyes were clouded, hollow. "You disturbed forces beyond your comprehension." I shivered, processing this horror. I half expected him to smile, but his face remained a grim mask. "What did you do?" I asked, panic creeping back in. He gestured to the shadows that writhed like serpents at the edges of the room. "You let them out. The shadows are hungry, and they thirst for something you." "Not my fault," I shouted, my heart racing again. "I didn't mean to." "Intent doesn't matter," he interrupted, his voice sharp. "The crystal binds them, but it is a double-edged sword. You can protect yourself or unleash a curse." The shadows lunged forward, stretching towards me, as if testing the barrier of light. I raised the crystal instinctively, feeling its energy pulse, warm and inviting. "What do I do?" "Claim your power," Samuel urged, though there was a hint of hesitation in his voice. "Or surrender it, and the shadows will consume you." A sudden surge of rage ignited within me. How had this all spiraled out of control? I had just come to explore a forgotten place, not to provoke whatever forces hid in its depths. I shook my head. I won't let them take me. With that, I focused on the glowing crystal, willing it to harness its light. The shadowy tendrils faltered, recoiling slightly. "What must I do?" I pressed, the urgency in my voice rising above the whispers that flared around me. "Confront them!" Samuel's voice grew fervent. "You must assert your will. They fear determination." The shadows shrieked. They clawed for the light, hungry for dominance. My mind raced with uncertainty. How could I confront something that felt so otherworldly and terrifying? Then I felt it, a surge of energy deep within me, fed by my desperation and anger. I stepped forward, raising the crystal high. "No!" I shouted at the darkness, my voice steadying into a roar. "You will not take me!" The light from the crystal flared, and with that I sensed a shift. The shadows writhed, their form twisting in agitation, and for a moment I thought I saw faces among the darkness. Racked with a mixture of fear and defiance, I pressed on. Then I noticed something glinting in the corner of the brewery. Out of the chaos, something caught my eye, a shard of glass reflecting the light of the crystal. And suddenly, it clicked. "The bottle!" I gasped, realizing it must be nearby and perhaps crucial to this confrontation. Before I could act, the shadows lunged again, but this time I didn't flinch. "I'll end this!" I yelled, charging forward, determined to reclaim not just the bottle, but my sense of safety.
Whatever lay ahead, I had to end it now, or risk losing everything. I lunged toward the corner where I had seen the glimmer. The shadows closed in around me, dark wisps curling around my ankles like smoke. I pulled myself together, pushing the fear to the back of my mind. I had to get that bottle. With every step, the air thickened. The shadows writhed with a hungry malice, hissing as if they recognized my intent. I focused on the shard, forcing myself to remember why I came here in the first place. I needed to uncover the truth of this place, not let it consume me. "Focus," Samuel's voice echoed in my mind, urging me to press on. I reached the spot where the light shone, and there it was, the bottle. It lay half buried in dirt and shards of broken glass, a swirling pattern weaving through its surface, almost alive. My hand trembled as I reached down to grasp it. The moment my fingers wrapped around the cool surface, the shadows recoiled, shrieking. I lifted the bottle, and a surge of energy shot through me. It felt like a connection, something ancient and potent coursed between the bottle and the crystal in my other hand. "Use it," Samuel urged again as the shadows seethed back, regrouping for another attack. I didn't know what "use it" meant, but I had to try. With a deep breath, I held both the crystal and the bottle up high, channeling every ounce of my will. "Get back!" I shouted again, my voice resonating with power. The shadows hesitated, as if sensing my determination. Then, to my utter shock, the bottle vibrated in my grasp. In an instant,
The swirling patterns lit up, illuminating the dim brewery with a warm glow. The shadows recoiled further, and I could see them agitated, almost panicked. "What is happening?" I demanded, my voice barely above a whisper. The bottle was responding to me. My heart raced. Was this my power or something connected to the bottle itself? But before I could ponder it further, a rush of darkness surged toward me. A wave of coldness crashed into my chest, throwing off my balance. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the crystal in the bottle. Panic threatened to overwhelm me. Then it happened. The bottle emitted a pulse of light so bright it momentarily blinded me. When my vision cleared, I saw something strange. The shadows were shifting, coiling into forms that looked almost human. Faces twisted in rage and desperation. They weren't just shadows. They were spirits trapped in the darkness, wanting to break free. I stumbled backward, fear creeping back in. "What do you want from me?" I cried, tears welling in my eyes. "Freedom," the shadows hissed in unison, their voice echoing around the cramped space. "You hold the key. Release us." The weight of their screams cut through me. I realized my choices were dwindling. If I let fear take over, I could end up just like them, forever trapped in the brewery's forgotten corners. But how could I release the shadows without losing myself in the process? My instincts screamed at me to run, to escape this wretched place, but I couldn't abandon my chance to understand what had happened here. Gripping the bottle tighter, I took a deep breath, focusing on the power coursing through me, knowing I had to decide quickly. "What do I have to do?" I yelled, desperation etched in my voice. That's when I felt it, a vibration in the bottle and crystal, a call to action. I had to make a choice, face the truth behind the shadows or allow them to consume me whole. And before I could weigh my options, I heard a loud crash from the back of the brewery, breaking the tension. Someone, or something, was coming. I froze, heart racing as the sound echoed through the vast emptiness. The crash had been loud, head splitting. I could feel the shadows shifting, their movements almost frantic. They seemed to sense the incoming presence as much as I did, and their cries for freedom grew urgent. Hide, I thought, my instincts screaming at me to duck behind the old barrels lining the wall. But I couldn't do it, not now. I had the bottle, the key to their release, and the shadows were depending on me. I took a risk, leaning against a barrel while still keeping the bottle and crystal in view. The light from the bottle pulsed softly, still illuminating the area around me. I could see the shadows slithering closer to me as they whispered, "Are you with us?" "Stop," I hissed back, barely suppressing a tremor in my voice. "We have to be careful. I don't know what's coming." Another crash followed, more chaotic this time, like a heavy object being hurled against the rusted machinery in the brewery. The shadows twitched, writhing as if each sound was a knife's edge, drawing them taut. From behind the machinery, a figure stepped out. My breath caught in my throat. It was a man, but he looked like he was drenched in shadow, his features blurred and indistinct. He moved slowly, deliberately, almost as if he were testing the air, sensing something that was beyond my grasp. I gripped the bottle tighter, feeling its warmth surge through me once more. Was he one of them? A spirit trapped in the same darkness? Or was he a threat? I couldn't tell. "Either he helps us or he leads to our doom," I whispered, trembling. The shadows curled around me, urging me to confront him. "Release us," they pleaded again, their tone desperate. "Who are you?" I demanded, scanning him for any signs of humanity. But he remained silent, his eyes fixed on the bottle in my hand. It was as if he could feel the power radiating from it, pulling him closer. I looked back at the shadows. They seemed to surge, growing braver. "We'll help you. Make him listen," they urged, seeping into the edges of the man's form, searching for connection. "Stay back," I shouted, raising the bottle toward him. "What do you want?" "Freedom," he finally spoke, just above a whisper. His voice sent shivers down my spine. "I can help you, child, but you must trust me." Trust was the last thing I felt in this haunted place. The shadows swirled eagerly around, begging me to consider this unknown. Perhaps he really could unlock the answers I sought, or worse, he could deceive me. I took a shaky breath, weighing my options. "What do you know about this?" I gestured to the darkness surrounding us. "What happened here?" He hesitated, his figure flickering as if in a breeze. "They were like me once, lost. But I can show you how to free them. But you must let go of your fear." With those words, the shadows surged forward, merging with him. I stumbled back instinctively, aware of how precarious my situation had just become. "No!" I screamed, feeling their pull against my mind. The atmosphere grew tense. I had to choose. Would I risk it all and follow the figure, trusting the shadows to guide me, or cut my losses and try to escape the brewery's grasp while I still could? Before I could decide, a chorus of screams erupted from the shadows, echoing around me. They had grown restless. I had to act fast. Everything hinged on my next move. The shadows writhed and swelled around me, crying out in a cacophony of desperation. My heart pounded as I faced the man caught between worlds. There was something familiar about him, that haunted look in his eyes, the way he seemed to flicker at the edges, like the dying embers of a fire. "Show me," I demanded, voice shaking but resolute. "Show me how to free you." He nodded solemnly, and the shadows surged forward, curling around him in a way that seemed almost reverent. "You hold the key," he said, gesturing toward the bottle and crystal. "Use them together." With a tremor of doubt, I stepped closer, the cold air biting at my skin. "But what if I fail? What if it all goes wrong?" "The choice is yours," he replied, his voice low and calming, even amidst the chaos. "You have seen the truth of this place. You must embrace it to reclaim your life." The shadows twisted again, and I felt a tug in my chest, as if they were inviting me to meld with them, to understand. As the whispers grew louder, I raised the bottle higher, feeling warmth radiate from its depths. The shadows seemed to respond, arching toward the light it emitted. "Together," I whispered,
and I started to channel my energy into both artifacts. The bottle glowed brighter, its light swallowing the darkness as I focused on the man, the lost soul caught in limbo. "Release us," he urged again, and the shadows surged forward. I closed my eyes, feeling the boundaries of fear fray at the edges as I embraced their call. "I choose to free you." Suddenly, a pulse radiated from the crystal, and the room erupted with blinding light. The shadows paused, seemingly caught off guard by the surge of energy. I felt the connection deepen between us, me, the shadows, and the figure. But then cracks started to form in the light, shadows creeping back in defiantly, hungry and desperate. "Hold on," he shouted, and I forced myself to concentrate, picturing the darkness dissipating. I felt the weight of history behind me, the pain of souls longing for freedom. The light expanded, threatening to burst beyond the confines of the brewery itself. But the shadows screamed louder, twisting and writhing as if fighting the brightness, and the man's form flickered dangerously close to disappearing altogether. "Almost there," I urged, but doubt crept back in. What if this was just a trick? What if I was losing myself to a darkness I couldn't control? Gritting my teeth, I drew forth every emotion, the fear, the determination, the desperate need to be free of this burden, and poured into the artifacts. With a final shout, I yelled, "I will not let you take over my life." The bottle exploded with light, illuminating the entire brewery. Shadows recoiled, merging and swirling before breaking apart like a mist against the brightness. I felt a connection rupture and then reform, a heartbeat echoing through the space. As spectral forms emerged from the darkness, their twisted faces softened as they reached for the light. "Thank you," the man's voice rang out. "We are free," he whispered, and with that, the shadows faded, becoming mere wisps of memory dispersed in the living light. I blinked, overwhelmed by the aftermath of what had just happened. The brewery felt lighter now, the oppressive weight of dread dissipating alongside the shadows. I glanced around, searching for remnants of what had occurred, but everything seemed bathed in a warm glow, transforming the crumbling remnants of the brewery into something oddly serene. Had I truly freed souls trapped by despair, or was it merely my mind playing tricks amidst the fear? I stood in that lingering glow, pulse quickening as I recognized the shadows no longer felt threatening. As if to remind me of their lingering presence, a chilling breeze skated past. I turned, half expecting to see Samuel, but there was nothing. No sign of the chaos, only the echoes of whispers now dulled, almost faded. After a moment, I took a deep breath, understanding that the shadows had been banished, but the memories lingered on in their absence, leaving a fragile thread of unease. I slipped the bottle deep into my bag, knowing its echoes would follow me wherever I went. I stepped out of the brewery, the door creaking behind me. There was a part of me that never wanted to return, yet another that couldn't help but wonder if I would hear those whispers again. If there was more tied to Samuel and the secrets of the brewery. The shadows may have faded, but the mystery of what transpired lingered thick in the air, leaving me with more questions than answers. As I walked away from that place, the weight of the unknown wrapped around me, making me question what reality had truly been. I realized some stories remained unfinished, their threads woven into the fabric of the world, leaving us to wonder what lingered just beyond the edge of understanding.